Exit to Eden, the erotic comedy starring Rosie O'Donnell and Dan Aykroyd.
Look at the state of that box. Who thinks let's do an erotic S&M cop comedy for starters, and then who thinks let's cast Dan Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell in it? Every single thing about this movie you watch and you go, why? Why is this the way it is?
Yeah.
Who has thought this is a good idea?
It is based on a novel by Anne Rice, who wrote Interview with the Vampire,
Queen of the Damned.
And it's directed by Gary Marshall, who directed Pretty Woman,
Beaches,
Runaway Bride, and both Princess Diaries movies. So it's odd. And now comes his erotic comedy thriller from 1994.
Whoa, well, pardonnez-moi.
She's trying to kill me, you idiot!
It's mostly set on this erotic island.
Erotic island?
You know, a place where your wildest dreams, as long as you haven't got a lot of imagination, happen. Or you're not particularly perverted.
It's like a club 1830 for people who like S&M.
Yeah. And it's very tame S&M.
Relatively tame, yeah. Nobody gets a fist up the arse.
No.
It's not Lars von Trier. It's not Jamie Bell fisting Charlotte Gainsbourg in Nymphomaniac Part 2.
Yeah.
Whipping her on the arse so hard that she bleeds. There's a lot of being tickled with feathers.
And actually, Nymphomaniac Part 1 is funnier than this movie.
Yes.
It's more erotic and funnier than this movie.
It's really undergraduate S&M. It's like, little spanked on the arse with a hairbrush, tickled with a feather, tied up with a silk handkerchief.
Not even spat on or even anything.
You don't get a 19-stone Austrian dominatrix spitting into your mouth.
Sitting on you.
On your face until you can't breathe.
And this annoying, obnoxious Australian-American, they call him, which I don't think is a thing, is it? The Australian-Americans?
Well, he's supposed to be American. It's, what the hell's his name? Mercutio or something. Paul Mercutio or something.
His name...
Strictly Ballroom.
Paul Mercutio from Strictly Ballroom.
Is it Mercutio?
Mercurio. Mercurio.
Paul.
It stars Paul.
From Strictly Ballroom.
Mm-hmm. And he's a little kinky. He's a kinky boy.
And there's a little prologue scene which explains where his kink is, because he got spanked by the Mexican housemaid.
In Melbourne. We'll get back to that later. And he says to his it's not a psychiatrist, he talks to this rich man and goes, I want to go to your island and I want to, do all the kinky stuff.
Get spanked on my arse.
And so he's going to go off to this island, but before he goes to the island,
he's a photographer.
He's a photographer, and he inadvertently takes a photo of a jewel.
A drug smuggling. It's a drug deal.
It's jewels. Diamond smuggler.
Oh, it is. It's diamonds. Yeah. Fucking hell, I didn't even remember.
Well, there's not much to remember.
No.
He
accidentally snaps some diamonds being smuggled.
A diamond's being smuggled, and the guy who he snaps has never been photographed before. He's like the Greek in The Wire. He's this unknown person. You don't know who he is, and the cops know that someone took a photo of the guy
that they need.
Dan
Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell, who are the cops. So the cops go to Pervert Island, and they follow the photographer. Yeah.
Follow the photographer, but so do the two criminals.
Yeah.
And hilarity and kinkiness ensues.
Yeah, it's a sort of cat and mouse thing. Who can get to this? This guy's gone to this kinky island. Who can get to him first? Can the cops get there first? Or can the criminals get there first? And everyone has to go to this sexy island where everyone who likes very, very underwhelming S&M and bondage
yes,
goes to, yes.
Yeah.
It's an absolute fucking mess. The one sort of full-on sex scene that you get in it isn't a kinky sex scene. It's like a vanilla sex scene. This is irritating. And it's this scene later on where, what the hell's her name? Dana Delany. Again, she's the woman who runs the sex island.
Mm-hmm.
and she falls in love with Paul Mercutio. And the scene where they finally, it's an irritating thing where finally the scene where they have sex and they have this romantic bond together. They don't have kinky sex, they have like boring vanilla sex.
Yeah.
And it's sort of this little subtextual thing where they go, well, it's okay if you like being smacked around the face with a shoe, but proper sex is the missionary position.
Yeah, you can't be that missionary.
It's slow and it's, gentle.
Never lose eye contact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's how you do, that's how, proper sex.
Big boy, huh?
Paul Mercurio.
The mercurial Paul Mercurio, he's not even mercurial, he's just shit.
From Strictly, not Strictly Come Dancing.
He's from Strictly Come Dancing.
He's from Strictly
Basil
Come Dancing.
and Strictly Come Dancing. Paul Mercurio from Dances with Wolves.
He plays, what's great is he plays this kinky guy, but he's not comfortable with his kinkiness. He's kind of repressed.
Yeah.
His performance is so bad, and he's an Australian actor, and clearly he couldn't do an American accent.
He couldn't nail the accent.
So they've seemed to have gone back over it and added like little things where like they'll walk away and Rosie O'Donnell off screen will go like, he loves kangaroos or something.
Well, they've made him an Australian. They've said he's an Australian American. He's from Australia, but he now lives in LA. And there are these little, what seems like ADR, where you hear people saying, oh, excuse me. Where you hear people saying, oh, he's an Australian American. Because presumably they watched it and realised it doesn't work, he sounds Australian. So they've had to explain it and retrospectively go back.
The opening is him as a child being spanked by a Mexican maid, and it just says Melbourne, Australia, and it's like, there's not a lot of Mexican maids in
Australia famously swamped with Mexicans.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. Martin. Look, I always have trouble saying your name, Martin, because Australians have difficulty with the American R. It'd be a lot easier if your name was Bob.
He should stick to shaking it. He should be a stripper.
Yeah.
He should stick to...
Not anymore. Have you seen what he looks like now?
Yeah, he looks like Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
They have a sort of meat market scene where they all get paraded around in front of the...
Take your top off.
Yeah, in front of the guy. And he's nervous. And then so he starts playing the ass. He starts dicking about.
He literally plays his ass.
And he catches, he's caught the eye of this sort of, the super horny dominatrix. She's the queen dominate. Oh.
Yeah.
Who's this man? I mean, he's not the best physical... I mean, he's a good-looking guy, I think, and he's in pretty good shape.
He can dance.
There are better-looking guys in it.
Yeah.
With a nicer body. So I don't quite know how this arsehole's caught his... caught her eye.
What do you think of her? She's cool.
Dana Delany. What's fascinating about this is this basically nearly destroyed her career. She was in some soaps and she was the voice of Lois Lane and Superman as well. So she's doing double duties in the DCAU. Let's put this in the DCAU. And then she did this movie, an erotic, this erotic comedy, and it didn't do
erotic comedy.
And it didn't do well. And then she was offered the role, Sarah Jessica Parker's role in Sex and the City. Is it Sex in the City or Sex and?
Sex and the... What is it?
Sex in or Sex and the City?
Sex and.
She was offered the lead in Sex and the City and turned it down because she did this movie. And she said, I once did this kinky crap and it goes nowhere, it ruins your career. Fucking hell. Oh,
wow.
Lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will Smith, do you want to be in The Matrix? No. I've got a movie called Wild Wild West. Although, to be fair, it didn't damage his career at all.
Well, Dougray, Wolverine, the villain in MI2. So she didn't take... What's Carrie Bradshaw? Is that the name of the... what's the lead of the... Carrie Bradshaw? Carrie Bradshaw, yeah. She didn't take that. And That's forever. That's going to haunt her. She's now doing all right. Don't worry about her. She was in Desperate Housewives, and she had a thing. One of those like body of evidence. One of those kind of like not body of evidence.
CSI Miami.
One of those. I look at dead bodies and figure out who did it.
Body of evidence.
Linked to this.
Well, it's
anyway.
just saucy movies, yeah.
Nobody seemed to care. Their sex sensors are numb.
There's a scene where the annoying dancer from Strictly Dancing with the Stars
Yeah.
rubs butter
Oh, God!
on her nipple. He gets a stick of butter and goes,
Oh, it's awful.
and then goes like
Cinnamon.
and then goes, it's an Australian cake, and goes like, and she goes, Australian cake.
Australian king.
Both of us have lived in Australia. That's not a thing out there. Australian cake. My mother's Australian. I can guarantee. Well,
Bon appetit.
if you threw a dry croissant, I'd be like, can I have a bit of the butter myself?
Well, no, he does. He sort of fingers the butter and then wipes it on the pastry. I think it's this sort of... did this come out after 9.5 weeks? I think it's this sort of foodie... Try. Let's get a food sex scene in there.
And this came
What's
after...
sexier than French pastry?
This came after Basic Instinct and all these things. And the 90s was this time of going, ooh la la. Like, a little bit of kink. We had that Madonna crap.
Body of evidence.
And a lot of Madonna. We had that Madonna book and everything as well.
Yes, the coffee table book.
Kink.
Sex.
Kink was big in the early 90s. And a lot... This is a shitty attempt at cashing in on it.
Yeah. Ride on the coattails.
There's been erotic thrillers. There's never been an erotic comedy. For good reason. But then... do a full-on erotic comedy.
Well, they have. I mean, there was all the Confessions of a Window Cleaner, the Asquith stuff.
True.
So there have been, and particularly the later Carry On, does tip into complete, end of the pier, bawdy.
Yeah, that's true.
So it does. But this is an S&M erotic comedy
without any real sado or Masco stuff.
You thought I'm vibrated.
Just a razor.
Fred, God, I'm vibrated.
It's nothing,
I
it's
knew
just
it.
a little-
Yes, you did. I can't believe you. Did you get it on the island?
Yes.
Rosie O'Donnell has possibly one of the worst voiceovers in any film ever. It's worse than Blade Runner. It is, because
So bad.
it's never needed. Everything she says is just like, hey, and then we went to the building and made sure that we had to talk. Yeah, we know where you're going. We're there. We're doing it. And then at the end of it, her voiceover does a weird little racist moment where, like, there's a character.
Let's not do it.
No, we won't do it. We'll cut to it. Iman, David Bowie's widow. Depressing saying that. David Bowie's widow. Plays this assassin, and she disguises herself as an Indian man at while.
Sir, could you hold my baby, please? Sir, could you help me and hold my baby? Thank you very much.
And then for no reason at the end, when they're talking about her, Rosie O'Donnell does a racist impersonation of an Indian.
I hear she calls the bingo game every Friday night. B14. N21. Omar got 3 life sentences.
Dan Aykroyd in it. His character, there's a big joke that he doesn't like periods. Like, not as a he doesn't like hearing about periods. And it's and there's not a joke, he just goes, like, it's equivalent of someone saying, like, last night I was snoring a lot, and he goes like, and I was snoring loudly, he goes, and like, I was like, like, I snored all night long. Oh no! Yeah. Like, and it's
Rosie O'Donnell just shouts words. She just goes vagina, ovaries, vagina, uterus. I've got a vagina, and he goes.
I have PMS too. Do you know that?
Yeah, sometimes I bloat, weight gain, temporary water buildup. I hate to tell you this, Fred. I clot. Heavy flow days.
Yeah.
Again, look how bad that is. Look how bad that is. That sums up the movie perfectly. Nothing about this is good. And when you look at that video, you go, who thought this was a good idea? There must have been dozens of people who looked at this and went, yeah, that'll make money. It must have been ticked off by, producer after producer. People have put money into this. People have thrown money into this movie. And it's absolutely awful. This sums up the movie because nothing works. Absolutely nothing works. And you watch it and you go, who on earth is this for? And who thinks any of this is good? It's so baffling. It's such an unusual addition into, particularly Dan Aykroyd's career, but Paul Mercurio obviously the offers weren't flying it. And neither was, what was her name? Dana DeLush or whatever she was called.
Dana Delany.
Was that a porn star? I probably accidentally named a porn star.
Come on, put your thing in my thing.
Look at the state of that. Everything that you hate about this cover is in the movie. It's an absolute fucking car crash. It's got nothing to say about S&M whatsoever. It's got no jokes. It's got nothing as far as
it's not erotic.
It's not. It's an erotic comedy. It's not sexy at all. I was flaccid all the way through this. It isn't funny. I didn't laugh. It's got nothing to say about S&M. It's an absolute fucking shit show. Never watch it.
Oh, that was nice.